Okay. I'd like to introduce our speaker today for today's Prevention of Blindness Town Hall meeting. Our guest speaker is Carl Richardson. He's the co-chair of the Audio Description Project, which is under the American Council of the Blind. Carl is also the ADA coordinator at the State House in Boston, and he's a busy man. He was talking to legislators moments before this meeting. Um, Carl does have Usher's syndrome, so in addition to his blindness issues, he also has hearing issues and uses a guide dog. Carl, you're in our world. We understand. He's got a passion for audio description and the TV and movie industry, which he'll explain more as he goes along. So, Carl, the mic is yours. Take it away.
All right, welcome everybody. And to Miss Sherwood, I did see your question, and that's a good question. I'll talk to Brian about renewing the podcast. But right now we're both doing other things, but I will take that into consideration. Miss Sherwood asked if I used to have a podcast called Picture This about audio description. So as as your the host mentioned, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name.
Sandy.
Thank you. As you mentioned, my name is Carl Richardson. I am the co-chair of the Audio Description Project for the American Council of the Blind, along with Kim Charlton. I can talk more about the Audio Description Project near the end, but I think you all want to hear about audio description in general.
Okay.
I'm going to start at the basics. Audio description is the description of key visual elements of things such as costume, timing, place, facial expressions, just many different things. And in the case of film and television, it's done during the gaps in dialogue so that it does not overlap the primary audio. Now, audio description is not just specific to film and television. It's also available in theaters, it's available in national parks, it's available. So if you're ever curious, I would go onto the website of cultural places you're going to, see if they offer it, give them a call, um, that sort of thing. So I will be talking mostly about it in media because that's my area of expertise. But I just wanted to make you aware you're in the Washington, D.C. area, correct? Everybody here?
Yes.
So I know for a fact that the Washington Ear, I think, keeps a pretty good list of what's audio described in your area outside of film and television. So that might be a resource you want to look at, just so you know. So I'm going to start off with the basics, and everything I tell you is also available on our Audio Description Project website, which is ADP, standing for Audio Description Project, adp.acb.org, okay? So anything I tell you is on that website. So first, let's keep it simple. Let's say you don't have cable, you don't have streaming services, all you have is a TV with an antenna and nothing else. There's still several hundred of hours a month of audio descriptions that you can watch. If you have a TV with an antenna, an over-the-air antenna, under the 21st Century Communications Video Accessibility Act, the four broadcast networks, meaning CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox, and PBS does some too, but they're not required to do as much as the others, are all required to do a minimum of 87.5 hours per quarter, but most of them do far more. In fact, I know that NBC and CBS are now doing 100% of primetime programming, which is from 8, you guys are on the East Coast just like I am. So in our case, that's from 8 to 11 p.m. So those four channels are doing quite a bit. How would you access the audio description? You would have to go in your menu, you would go into your menu probably under audio and look for something called the second audio program or the SAP channel and switch it over to, it's not always called audio description. Sometimes it's called Spanish, sometimes it is called audio description, but you would have to enable the feature. Now, for those of you who can no longer read the menus on TV and things like that, the other thing that the CVA did that passed in 2016 was to require the television set be accessible so that they have things like screen readers built into them, magnification, large print. So it might also be worth making sure that you buy an up-to-date television so you then have the ability to access features such as closed caption and audio description, things like that. I know that some of you are probably in the same world that I used to be I am now completely blind, but a few years ago I still used to read captions because of my hearing loss, and my TV set allowed for me to also change the color, the style, the text, the background of captions. So also look into that too. Do whatever it takes to make your viewing experience more enjoyable. So just by having a TV set and accessing the 4 broadcast networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, you have access to several hundred hours, a quarter, or even a month or a week of audio description. If you want to know what those shows are, because I can't tell you, you can go to the Audio Description Project website, adp.acb.org, and we have the ability to filter by day of the week or even by network. You could type in CBS, what's on tonight, and it'll allow you to see what's on television that night. So that's one way. Okay. Now, many people still have cable. If For those of us over 50, we still have cable, right? If you have cable, it expands to the 5 top cable rated networks on top of the 4 broadcast networks. And I'm going to try to get them all, but I may miss one. It's TBS, TNT, TLC, Home Garden Television, and I think it might be the History Channel. But you can go online to our website and look. They are also required to play 87 and a half hours per quarter of audio description. And again, they're also exceeding that number, which is equals to about 7 hours a week. But everybody's exceeding that number, thanks to the advocacy of people like yourselves and the Audio Description Project. So you have a minimum, if you have cable TV, you now have a minimum of 9 channels. And in the cable box, you would have to go in and enable the audio feature inside the cable box. And just like with accessible TV stations now, your cable provider has to provide you with an accessible set-top box. Again, thanks to the 21st Century Video Accessibility Act of 20, I forget, we just had our 15th anniversary, so I think it was at the White House in 2010 when it was signed into law. So again, because of that law, you have to have accessible TV sets and accessible cable boxes, and the 4 broadcast networks plus the top 5 cable-rated networks have to provide audio description. Before I move on, because I know I just told you a lot of information, I want to take a moment to see if anybody has any questions.
Carl, there's one message in the chat from Nancy Sherwood that she misses your podcast.
I saw
Picture
that.
this. Yeah.
I thought, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate your positive feedback. Does anybody have any questions? I'm always willing to stop and take a few questions. Am I heading in the right direction?
Yes, you
guys?
are. And
Okay.
this is Sandy. I'm going to ask, do you have experience
Hello?
with, okay, let me,
A question?
yes, go ahead, ending in 385. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm listening with audio, and I guess my volume is maximized, but it's hard for me to hear. It's not loud enough. Are there services streaming? I don't have cable, so I use streaming services.
Okay.
Would there be any? Go ahead.
I haven't gotten to that yet, so if you sit tight.
Oh, I'm worry.
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no. You didn't do anything wrong. You asked a question. I will get to streaming services very shortly. I'm going incrementally in order of complexity, if you will. Okay.
You are you are smarter than I am, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So the next
Oh,
thing
oh,
you
actually, Carl, this is Sandy. One question. So if people are having trouble enabling their cable box, they can call their cable company or getting the audio description channel on their TV. Do you have experience with Be My Eyes service directory where you can call the specific service providers?
I'm aware of it. I'm pretty tech savvy, so I haven't used it
Okay.
myself. And I also know who to call, so I'm aware of it. I think it's a good service. Use whatever tools necessary. I actually have used Be My Eyes when I have computer issues with Microsoft, and I've found that to work well. So, and I would if so do whatever, and also you can always post. We do have an email discussion list, the audio description project email discussion list. Chances are, if you post an answer there, somebody will have a response. We have about 400 people on that list, and somebody usually knows the answer. That's another thing. So there's also audio description in movie theaters that have been required. They're not required to have every movie have audio description, but they're required to have the equipment to play it, and all digital movie theaters, which is basically all of them now. There's only like 40 theaters in the country now that do analog. And when I say analog, I mean reel to reel, like we all grew up with, right? Not digital download. So all movie theaters are required to have the ability to play audio description. And I would say now we're at around about 90% of all mainstream movies now do come out with audio description. I will give a caveat though, however. If you go to the movie theater, I would call ahead of time and let them know you were coming so that they can make sure the devices are charged up, so that they can make sure they understand how to use it. Because blind people or low vision and blind people don't go to the movies enough that the movie theater staff is always maintaining the equipment and knowing what to do. So I would call them ahead of time just so that you cut down on the frustration level when you get there. Okay. And if you're somebody like me, when you show up with the guide dog and hearing aid, they don't know whether to give you the hearing equipment or the blind equipment. It's kind of amusing. So you have to be firm on what you want and explain it to them. Okay. But movie theaters, and again, if you want a list of the movies that are in the current that are currently in the theaters with audio description, you go to adp.acb.org. Now, believe it or not, for those of us who still have DVD players, and I happen to be one of them, a lot of DVDs are now coming out with audio description. There's some cons about this, but and if you want a list of which movies have the audio description on DVDs, you go to adp.acb.org and you can find that out. And I don't like, in my case, my Blind London Library, which is Perkins Library for the Blind here in Massachusetts, actually buys all the audio described DVDs and rents them out to its blind patrons. So I don't know if that's the case with your regional blind library. You may want to check that out. But if not, you can go on the list and see which DVDs. The con about this is if you don't have enough vision to navigate a menu on a DVD player, sometimes it can be hard to turn on the audio description track. Now, in my case, I actually bought a DVD player that has on the remote a audio button, and I just toggle through it until I get to the audio description track. But even I am not. I mean, I maybe watch one DVD every couple of months because most of the stuff is available on streaming, which I'll get to in a second. But so far, you can do broadcast TV over the air, cable television, DVDs, and movie theaters. I just before we move on to what the hot topic is now, which is streaming, I just want to make sure that nobody has any questions on those areas of concerns. Okay, either I'm boring you to death or I'm doing a great job.
I'm sorry, Carl. Janice, go ahead.
Question. So you said most theaters have the audio description now. Are movie makers required to do something do they have to do something on the front end in order for movies to be audio described?
Well, I don't want to get too far off topic here, but how movie theaters get their movies nowadays is they download them onto their computer servers, and the movie makers don't have to do anything. What they usually do is the movie production company or the movie studios like a Warner Brothers or Universal will hire a post-production facility to create the audio description track. And so when the movie theaters get what they call a DCP, a digital cinema package that they download, the audio description files get downloaded with it. And the projectionist just has to know at the movie theater, has to know to enable that feature.
Okay, thank you.
Um, but that's
Excuse me,
not stuff that
Carl?
yeah.
Excuse me, this is Liz Savage. Thank you for doing this. I've had, as you've alluded to this, unfortunate experiences at theaters, especially there's one here in Washington, where the staff isn't trained on the difference between an ALD, assistive listening, and audio description. Now, and the headsets are always different. Is there one consistent? I mean, do you have recommendations on that, or
No,
the
there's not
headsets
one
still
consistent.
double used for both?
There are devices that can marry both. For people like, it sounds like you may be part of the dual sensory loss community, like I am. There are devices that do both, but every theater buys their own equipment. And I think part of the reason why the ushers or the staff at the movie theaters, because you're saying the word audio description, and in the cinema world and the video world, they still think of it as video description. So I think you need to say audio description for the blind, okay, or for the visually impaired. You need to be very specific in your language because they just hear audio and tune out and think it's enhanced audio through the ALDs, right? So, but there are some devices that allow you to marry both. But I can't give any specific recommendations, but the technology is there.
Okay, and follow up. Do you recommend independently encouraging theaters or trying to get an advocate to go to the theater to train the staff in how to use my experience is staff many often do not know how to use the equipment, and therefore, it's ineffective.
So by law, not only are they required to have the equipment, they're required to advertise the fact that they have audio description, and they're required to train their staff. And that's where many, many theaters fall short. So, I mean, now I have good luck 'cause I go to the movies often enough that people see me walking in and they freak out. Okay. I tend to take it to the next level, but yeah, it's going to require advocacy, calling them ahead of time. This is the weakest area of audio description where we have not had 100% success yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Yeah, and I'm being honest. I have had success because I go on a regular basis. But if the theater you go to doesn't have folks that go on a regular basis, that you do have to call them and educate them a little bit.
Carl, this is Sandy. I have another question. You alluded to the person at the movie theater, the projectionist who's showing the movie has to turn on the channel for audio description to be available. Is there a single type of device that's not too outrageously expensive that the movie listeners, could buy and take to a movie theater, or does that vary from production company to production company?
No, each theater does. I mean, unless it's a national movie chain where they have the same equipment across the board. But even different movie chains have different equipment. There's no single I mean, and then you talk about the small independents, they have their equipment. So no, there's no single device. And I don't want to go too far astray, but I will tell you there is some exploration being done right now of potentially creating apps on your smartphones that can play the audio description. That's being looked into. But that's probably still several years off. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
So I would like to, if there's no objections, unless anybody else has any questions, I'd like to move on to streaming services. Okay, great. So for those who have, first of all, streaming service can be is where, believe it or not, most of the audio description is today. And what's fascinating about that, unlike movie theaters with some legal mandate and broadcast and cable television where there's some legal mandate, there's really no legal mandate that the streaming services have audio description. And so I'm convinced because it's all computer-based technology information. They know to the second who's watching it and who's not. They not only know how many minutes people are watching of audio description, they know how many and who, because they wouldn't keep doing it if they didn't have the numbers. Okay, so that I'm just gonna now there are a number of ways to watch streaming services nowadays. Okay, and I'll then go into the different streaming services, but there are at least 4 different ways to watch streaming services. The first and easiest way, from my perspective, is to have a smart television which connects to the internet and buy one that's accessible that talks. And I even have on my remote control a button that I push to talk. It's called the LG. They're a little more expensive, but I find them to be incredibly accessible. I just say open Netflix and it automatically does it. Or I just say open Disney Plus and it automatically does it. Once you've logged in and done your credentials, you know. And then, so a smart television is is one of the easier ways, and they're all smart now, whether it be Toshiba, Fire TV, Sony, Samsung, all the main brands have smart capabilities connected to the only difference between a smart TV and a dumb TV is that they don't have internet connection. A smart TV has internet connection. And so but most it I don't even know if you can buy a dumb TV anymore. I'd have to look, but I don't know. So that's the easiest way. However, if you have a dumb TV that cannot connect to the internet, you can get a streaming device to hook to your TV through an HDMI port, okay? Such as an Amazon Fire Stick, an Apple TV player, a Roku. I would stay away from Roku's. That's my personal biased opinion. Roku's is the most popular streaming devices, but I find it to have the most accessibility challenges. The Apple TV and the Fire Stick are very accessible and very usable. And the Fire Stick is the cheapest at about 30, 40 bucks. So, and they can give you access to all the streaming services, okay? The next way is most of these streaming services are also, you can do Netflix.com or DisneyPlus.com. So if you're fairly good on the computer, this takes, even I don't do this, and I'm pretty tech savvy. You can watch it on the desktop if you know how to log into the website and select titles and turn on audio description. That takes a little bit of work, and frankly, who's going to sit at their computer to watch? Well, maybe some would, but I wouldn't. The last way, and I actually do this quite a bit if I'm walking around the house or walking my guide dog, is all these companies have apps for your smartphone or your iPad or your tablet, okay? So Netflix will have an app, Disney Plus will have an app, Prime Video will have an app. They all have apps. You can do it, and if you have almost no vision, like I do at this point, it doesn't matter if you're sitting in front of a 75-inch screen TV or if you're listening to it on your cell phone that you put in your pocket, right? So I use my phone quite a bit too if I'm doing the dishes or doing the laundry. you know. So I use my TV mostly when my wife and I are watching TV. And my wife is fully sighted, has her normal hearing, and she loves audio description because she no longer she no longer has to do the work to try to make sure I enjoy the movie and take herself out of the experience. There are, I don't know how many, I've lost count, but there are many, many streaming services that allow you to access audio description. Netflix started first in 2016. They have quite a few titles. They do all their original content, meaning programs that they own, plus um, 100% of their original content, plus um, titles they acquire when the audio description track is available from other companies. Okay, and it's quite a bit of. You'd run out of stuff. I mean, you're going to spend your whole lifetime watching the number of titles, but they have. I'm trying to think what's big on it right now. I started watching season 4 of Stranger Things the other night. So they have a lot of shows. They do all the original programming. They also, for those, they audio describe in multiple languages. They do quite a bit of audio description. There's Disney Plus. They do all of their original programming and a lot of stuff they own, and they've even gone back and done their back catalog. And for many of us who maybe missed seeing some of the classics in the theater because we were visually impaired, such as the original Snow White or the Dumbo or the Pinocchio, those are now audio described. And they also do have a channel for National Geographic, a section within the Disney Plus app for those who like travel shows. If you're a fan of the Star Wars franchise, all the Star Wars stuff is audio described. If you like Pixar and you have grandkids, all the Pixar stuff and the Disney animated movies are audio described. They have quite a bit of audio description. Prime Video. Prime Video is a little complicated, but for those who have Prime memberships and pay the annual fee, they have a streaming service, which is, they call free, but I would argue you're paying $140 for it. Um, and they do all of their original content, plus, just like Netflix, any titles that they acquire. Prime Video is complicated is that you can also buy movies to purchase or rent movies just to watch. And so you really have to, I would suggest look at the Audio Description Project website to see which version of the movie has audio description because they may have it for the rental versions, but not for the purchase version. They may have it for the streaming version, but not for the rental version. So, but Prime Video has by far the largest catalog of audio described titles. And so that's certainly worth looking at. Hulu, which is now owned by Disney, they have audio description. It's not as big as some of the others, but they have audio description. Peacock, which is owned by NBC Universal and has a lot of NBC content and Universal Studios content on it, has audio description. Paramount Plus, which is obviously Paramount Studios, they have Showtime content on it, a lot of CBS content on it. If it airs on CBS with audio description, it's also going to be on the streaming service with audio description. So if you missed a show, there's quite and the reason why I subscribe to Paramount Plus is because I'm a Trekkie. I love Star Trek. Star Trek is actually coming up. I can't say too much, but the original series is actually coming up on its 60th anniversary, and I would not be surprised if you saw an announcement about the original series having audio description someday. So I can't wait to hear how they describe William Shatner. Um, so who's now 94, 95? Can you believe that? Um, I'm trying to think. There's a bunch of streaming services. Oh, Apple TV Plus. You can also, for those who are part of the Apple ecosphere, they have a streaming service. They're with all their original content. And the interesting thing about them is they audio describe every single program that they own and control in at least 9 different languages. So German, French, Spanish, Japanese, Korean, I forget what all the languages are. And their audio description is very high quality in terms of sound levels and things like that. They also have, you can also rent and buy movies with audio description through Apple TV, but it's not as complicated because they'll say right on it when you get ready to buy or rent whether or not it has audio description, and it's not as complicated as it was with uh, Prime Video. And then there are a few what they call fast streaming services. Fast, F-A-S-T, like I'm moving real fast, stands for free ad-supported television, which is streaming services that have a lot of ads in them, but they're free. Stuff like Tubi, and I can't remember some of the others, but some of them have limited audio description. They don't have a huge catalog, but they have some because they Tubi. Another one is Pluto Television, because they're all owned. Like Pluto is owned by Paramount, and Tubi's owned by one of the networks. I can't. So some of them, and again, all this information. If you have a particular streaming service, or you want to learn before you purchase or decide which streaming service to go to, all this information is on the Audio Description Project website. We are above, if you count streaming services and all that stuff I just told you about, we are now above 13,000 titles with audio description. So that's a lot, considering in 2016 we were probably talking about a couple hundred. And it's only going to grow because the European Union now has some accessibility guidelines, and they're insisting on audio description. And it's my hope someday that we do something similar to what we did with library books in a Marrakesh Treaty, where we start swapping and sharing audio description files so that we can start watching international shows with audio description. But that's a bit down the road. But I want to stop for a minute and find out, because I went through a lot of information very fast, and I want to make sure that no one is overwhelmed. And by the way, most of the streaming services I mentioned all have a monthly subscription. Okay, so you have to pay, whether it be, some as cheap as I think $10.95, going all the way up to 20 something a month. So just be aware of that all the streaming services have a monthly subscription. It's based on your taste preferences, what type of programming you like to watch, and what your family likes to watch. Now, I happen to subscribe to all of them, which drives my wife crazy, because when she sees my monthly credit card bill, she doesn't like it. But I tell her, honey, I'm doing research. So anyway, any questions, anybody?
Yeah.
Yes,
Deb,
Question?
yes, I have a question.
Question?
This is Debbie. I
Mhm.
would like to find out if you mentioned Peacock, I missed it as
I
a
did
streaming
mention
service.
Peacock, owned by NBC, yes.
Well, what is their status of their ADP quality or breadth?
No, I mean, most of their content is from, because they're owned by Comcast Universal. Most of their stuff is the NBC show with audio description, okay? And a lot of the Universal movies that they put on their streaming service with audio description. And some shows when they acquire it from other places with audio description, but most of it is their own content. And it's good. I watched a show the other day called Poker Face, which is an original show on Peacock, and it had good audio description.
I think we have Janice.
Thanks, Tara. I wanted to go back to Sandy's question when she was asking if there was a device that we could take into the theater, and you said they were working on something. It'll be a few years out. Theaters have an app called Gala Pro where you can hear the plays audio described. So is there a big difference between what theaters use and what movies could use?
Well, two things. Well, one, the movie studios are very zealous of what they perceive to be copyrighted content and don't necessarily want to give app providers copyrighted. The difference is when you're in a live theater, once it's set, it's gone, and it's not downloadable, it's not
Mhm.
whatever, you can't
Evaporates into
record
air,
it, you
right?
can't hack it, you can't do anything, right? It's just over the air through a headset, whatever. Movie theaters are very zealous. Now, I consider audio description to be an access tool, but they don't. They consider it to be copyrighted material.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And there's what, six,
Gloria
seven,
has
yeah.
a question.
Yeah, phone number.
Gloria,
and-
yes.
Yeah, Gloria, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, the website. Can you kindly give the website address again?
Sure, absolutely. So the Audio Description Project website is ADP for Audio Description Project, adp.acb.org. So that's adp.acb.org. So just think of Audio Description Project dot, ACB meaning American Council of the Blind.org, adp.acb.org.
Sherry and then
I'm
Nancy.
missing.
Oh, sorry, Gloria.
I'm missing the middle letters. I'm very
Okay,
sorry. The middle letters of.
I'll phonetically do it. A for audio, D Delta,
Yeah.
P Papa.
Yep.
Okay, that
Yes.
period. A audio, C Charlie, B blind. So acb.org.
Got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Sherry and then Nancy.
Okay, all right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I am Sherry Stanley, and I am totally ignorant. I really don't even know what this audio processing is. What you're talking about, what you're
So do you ever go out with a friend and have them describe the world around you and what's going on?
You rarely, but yes.
Okay, so think of this. There are movie shows and television where they have on a separate audio track describing the TV show, filling in the key visual elements that you would miss without describing it. And everything I mentioned are ways to be able to access the audio description.
Thank you.
Nancy.
Hey, this is Nancy. I had a quick comment and then a question. The comment really is just to let people know I use audio description all the time. And on my iPhone, I've set my settings to always grab audio description if it's available. So that's a fun shortcut. Sometimes I've noticed PBS has actually changed. I have to go into their language options and choose audio description again for some reason. But anyway, that's another tool that someone could use is to go to your settings, your accessibility settings on your smartphone and see if there's a choice to always grab audio description if it's available. And second was a question. I like to watch Tubi. I like to watch a lot of the free ones. Amazon also has a free on their app. You can get some free content with audio description because I'm not an Amazon Prime user.
Yeah, I forget what's the name of that app called.
It used to be, Carl, it used to be Freevee, but they got rid of that though very recently. And you have to go through their Amazon Prime app, but you can still access some free stuff, but that has changed. But they usually audio describe all of their original Amazon programming, like The Summer I Turned Pretty and other things that they produce.
Sounds like you could give this presentation.
Well, I don't know. I really, really like audio description and I found it very helpful. But I do have a question. I apologize for talking a lot there. But the question I have is sometimes I think maybe you already answered it. Maybe it's because of proprietary ownership of the audio description content. But I've found that from from platform to platform, a movie will just pop from one to the other. So I was watching a movie called Stillwater with Matt Damon on Tubi for free, and it had the audio description. But I didn't finish it before it left the platform, and it went to Peacock.
And
And
now
on
you can't find
and
it.
there's no audio.
Yeah.
It's on there, and it no longer has it. And I'm sure it's just proprietary ownership. But
It's not.
or is it?
Sometimes it's proprietary, meaning how the file is formatted within the service. Not always. We're trying to work with the studios to do what's called, I don't want to get too technical, but sometimes it's proprietary. Sometimes it's just lack of knowledge because these organizations are so big. We'll just use a generic, let's say MGM. Okay. I have a television department, I have a film department, I have a video department, and I have a distribution department. They don't necessarily, the distribution department doesn't necessarily know that the video department did an audio description file or the film. So we're trying to make it so that people put in their contract when an audio description file exists, it goes from one service to another. So I think it's a combination of things. Yes, it can be proprietary file type. It also can be they just doing a lousy job of knowing who did what and to ask for the file.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And can I say one final thing about Tubi? I watch a lot of stuff on there. They do have a category when you go to their Explore page that says audio description, but it's not even remotely exhaustive. They actually have more audio described movies on Tubi than they put on their own Explore page. So they just have gotten lazy, I guess, as well. But
you and I are going to start doing these calls together, Nancy.
Well, Carl, I really appreciate you, and I apologize for monopolizing the time, and thank you very much.
I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You have
audio.
audio. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, this is Karen and Henry.
Okay.
Could we get on the list of a question?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay. We have a smart about TV. We have a smart TV, and then we also have Peacock.
And
So, you said push the button LG, and I didn't know
Okay.
what that meant. And anyway, but if it seems to me that you were turning on the microphone.
So
No.
you're trying to figure out how to activate the audio description within Peacock?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, and also cable TV.
Well, first of all, what cable service do you use?
Oh. Comcast.
Comcast, and I don't have the number off the top of my head, but they actually have an accessibility dedicated hotline.
Yes.
24/7. You can call them and they should be able to help you turn it on within your cable TV. As far as Peacock goes, you have to find a title that you know for sure has it, okay? What I would do is recommend picking an NBC television show that's on, like Law and Order or something that you know, and then play it. And then you gotta arrow up to the audio selection, audio thing within the menu, and I don't know what kind of TV you have, so I can't be specific, so I'm going to be very general, and click down to English with audio description. And you should only have to do that once, and then every time you click on a title, if it has it, it'll play it out loud.
Thank you. And when it does it replace the sound that's there? I mean the program is going on. Are they both talking at once? I mean, the audio.
Yeah, no, it's a married track. It playing the primary audio with the audio description and the gaps in the dialogue.
Good.
And then if you come upon a show that doesn't have it, you just hear the regular track.
I see. Thank you. Very helpful.
Sandy, can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Tara.
Okay. Some movies have foreign language in them, so there will be some English subtitles. Would that be covered as well, or how does it work when there's a foreign language in the movie?
You mean for audio description?
Yes.
Well, it's tricky. There's not a lot of description of foreign language movies in English, okay? I mean, meaning, let's say we're watching a French movie. There's some, but there's not a lot. But what they do is they'll have an audio, they'll have usually maybe two people do the audio description track, one who will read the subtitles and one who will do the audio description. So there's not a lot of foreign titles being audio described into English. However, there are quite a few titles. Netflix has quite a few titles in quite a few languages in the native language of the movie. So if I were watching a French movie, I could click on French audio description and it would play it with French. So it depends. There's not a lot of movies out there where they'll take a foreign movie, and audio describe it into English. There are some. I don't want to say it's never done, but it's not a lot. Okay?
Thank you.
But there's quite a few foreign language titles that have audio description when it's tracked. And in this country, many of them are done in Spanish because we have a large Spanish speaking population. But you would have to go into the audio menu, audio settings, and select that that's the version you want.
Carl, this is Sandy. I think you've halfway answered my question. You mentioned that one of the streaming services had up to 9 different languages. So
That
would
was Apple.
would all of those languages be available and then you select the one you want to listen to, or would you have to get a different version streamed in the
So
first
in the
place?
case of Apple, they do not what called geolock. It's open to everybody. If you do Apple, it's open to everybody. Some of the streaming services geolock based on your location. Netflix does a. I would say if you're into watching audio description in different languages, the two services I would look at would be Apple or Netflix.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Hello, yes, this is Debbie again. I would like to find out, instead of subtitles in a foreign movie, how about subtitles in TV shows that are intermittent? There are some PBS shows, I think World on Fire or some others, that intermittently have subtitles from spoken German or spoken French. What do
So
they do with those type?
So it's far easier to create subtitles or captions in different languages. And many of the titles, I'm not an expert in this, but based on my casual looking, many of them do allow to watch. I mean, if you can watch or choose your language. In fact, Apple, I think, does 40 languages in subtitles. Okay, I think Netflix does several. So you'd have to go into
I think,
settings.
excuse me, but I misspoke, or
Okay.
the subtitles themselves are not in the foreign language. They are translating into English what is spoken in German and what is spoken in French, but they are intermittent through the TV show.
Do you mind if I
So,
pop in here, Carl? I'm sorry, this is Nancy.
yeah,
I
I'm
actually
so,
have an answer because I know the show you're talking about, Debbie. I watched that program as well on PBS. The first season of World on Fire had no audio description, and so you were out of luck if you couldn't read the subtitles. But the second season did have the audio describer, did just go ahead and read the subtitles.
Great.
I've seen that on PBS on a number of
okay.
shows,
Thank
and
you,
it's
Nancy.
they just read it, and they'll even say maybe sometimes subtitles appear, and then they'll read what it says.
And that tells me another resource which I did not mention. PBS.org now has quite a few free titles with audio description on their website. And if you want to pay, you can also access, and I can't remember what it's called, Passport. PBS Passport. There's quite a few titles on PBS if with audio description if you belong to a member station, and you can access it that way too. So I apologize for not bringing that as a resource, and thank you for jumping in, Nancy. I did not know how to answer that.
Carl, I'm so glad that it's teamwork. You're doing a great job. I think we have just a few more minutes, and if you'd be willing, Carl, could you address what you think of the potential inroads of AI doing audio
Okay.
description for us?
Yeah, so two areas that I'm mostly well, one AI. I don't think AI is there for long form entertainment. And when I say long form entertainment, I mean television shows, movies. But I've even used AI to describe YouTube videos, okay? And AI can mean two different things when we're talking about it. It can mean voices that are not voiced by humans and the writing of. I'm opposed to both personally, but I know that different people have different things because a lot of people want to see back catalog described. Um, so some people are just doing still human writing the script, but then using text-to-speech voices so that they don't have to hire a narrator. And we're starting to see that on Prime Video and other things. I still don't think the quality is the same as a human writer, but I think the quality of their voices are going to get better and better and better, and that's going to be less of an issue over time. This is the part that scares me, though, using AI to actually write the video, to write the audio description. I don't think we're there. It's akin to the same argument that the deaf and hard of hearing community use for automatic speech recognition for captioning. They'd rather have a human writer than a robot deciding what words are being said. How does the computer at this point in time make the judge? Now, it's coming. It's coming. And we have to figure out how to put safeguards in place. And we're starting to do that at the American Council of the Blind. We're saying we know it's coming and we can't stop it, but we'd like you to meet the same or equivalent standard as when you do that. For instance, if you use text-to-speech voice, we want you to have it recorded at this level, and we want the quality to be that of a human person, that sort of thing. We're still working on how to handle the writing of the audio description, but it's coming.
I'm very glad that you're thinking about trying to guide it ahead of time. And one more quick
Well, not
topic.
ahead of time. We're having a hard time keeping up, to be frankly honest.
Okay. Well, doing the best you can. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. The American Council of the Blind has been very proactive in so many fronts. So one more topic really quickly, because we're almost up to the hour. The Audio Description Institute that people does train people to do how to suss out what to
Yeah.
describe.
Yep, we have that twice a year, done by Dr. Joel Snyder, who was the original founder of the Audio Description Project when it launched about 15 years ago. Um, he had it's about $400, I think, to do it. It's twice a year. It's 1 week, and it's pretty intense. And it people who want to work in the industry or who are working in the industry. It covers the range from editors, the people who edit the sound files, to writers who write the AD, and that I would probably say is the main focus of Dr. Snyder's seminar, because that's his background, to people who voice it. Okay. The reason why we have that is because we want more people to work in it and do high quality audio description.
So maybe if any of the participants today have a friend or family member who's their good personal audio describer. When I was growing up, my mom and one of my sisters were pretty darn good at it. Maybe you can recommend the Audio Description Institute to them, and they can help all the rest
I
of
will
us.
say this, no one's getting rich working in this field.
Okay. Okay.
Just,
Well, any other questions for Carl?
Carl, excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Liz
167.
Savage. Can you please reference? There was a reference to a technology used in live theater. I thought live theater was only able to use humans these days.
Gala Pro, I think, was the one that the person mentioned. Gala Pro.
The GALA Pro?
Yep.
And that is, now that's not required, right? That's like an example of an auxiliary aid.
That's a device that they use in live theater to transmit the audio description. And I think the amplified audio, that is the case where the device can do both.
But if I
Okay.
understand correctly, the audio description is read or spoken out loud by a human being in a theater.
So Nancy, I just saw your chat. Yes, that was a thing that that is a thing that we produced called the Audio Description Award. It is something that the Audio American Council of the Blind produced. It is on Peacock, but for those who don't have Peacock, you can go to the ACB YouTube channel and watch it for free. And I'm actually very proud of this because I was involved in the production of it, where we honor people who have done good work in audio description. But here's why I'm proud of it. We did it with open captions, open audio description, meaning you didn't have to turn it on and off. It's there for everybody to see. We also did a Spanish version translated into Spanish, and this is the part I'm most proud of as a deafblind individual. We had an interpreter signing the whole thing who was actually 100% deaf. She signed it. She has Usher syndrome, and she signed it doing picture-in-picture. So I like to call it the most accessible award show. So you can go to the ACB YouTube channel. You can also go to, I think it's adgalaaward.org. It's also on there as well.
Well, Carl, this has been very impressive. I want to thank you for your presentation because I have heard you speak before, but you covered more topics than I've heard you cover before. So thank you, and thank you, audience, for asking your questions. I'm going to say big round of applause for you, even if you can't see it or hear it. It's heartfelt. And I just want to sort of sign off by saying thank you all for coming and participating. The Prevention of Blindness will post this town hall presentation on the POB YouTube channel. Our next meeting will be February 18th. Tara, do you have the topic for that?
Yes, yes, we
Go
do. February is Low Vision Rehabilitation Month, and our guests will be Dr. Suleiman Alabai and Dr. Payam Mujallal. So please stay tuned.
They're always excellent speakers, and if you've never met them before, I highly recommend listening in. So, and one last thing I want to ask participants, give feedback to Prevention of Blindness. What works well, what is challenging, because we've reformatted how you sign up for these virtual meetings. You can always call 301-951-4444 to leave a message. But give us feedback. How are we doing? And one last time, thank you so much, Carl, for giving this presentation today. Audio description really can open up visual experiences.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I find this very personal. You asked me to mention this, and I didn't. I graduated with a degree in film and television from college with the hope of working in film and television. And I did for a handful of years. I worked on a number of TV shows and movies in Hollywood. But then I started losing my vision to the point where I couldn't drive, and I gave it up, and I came back home to the East Coast, kind of depressed, and didn't know what to do in my life. And I heard about this local station a mile down the street from where I live called WGBH, who was doing audio description. And I asked to meet with them, and they did, and they hired me. And it was audio descriptions that gave me my love of film and television back when I thought I had lost it forever.
Yes, a word to the wise. I can enjoy dimly lit shows where I can't recognize the faces and I can't always tell the person by their voice because I haven't learned who's who yet. Audio description is there to rescue me.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank
You're
you.
terrific.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Very
Thank you.
good.